What's up everybody, Lazy Locks here. Today I'm going to go over how to prepare a chain to be used with this Squirt chain lube. This is a wax-based lubricant and I find it superior to regular oil-based lubricants for your chain like Tri-Flow or Finish Line. Once you prepare a chain to be used with it, the maintenance on it is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to deal with, and your chain doesn't get as grimy, and it also the friction on the chain is much less than regular oils. As some of you may know, I also use molten chain or molten wax on some of my chains, and that's a little bit involved, and I think that this is a good compromise between the two methods. Anyway, what you'll need is a new chain, of course. I wouldn't recommend you using an existing chain that's already been ridden. It takes too much effort to clean up. So I would just pick up one of these. It's like a KMC S1 chain. You can get them for about $12 to $15 on Amazon. You can pick them up at your local bike shops. But this is what you need. What I would also recommend that you just get the regular, just nickel-plated, no paint on the chain. As what will happen is the degreaser will strip some of the paint off, not all of it, but it will do a little bit. So any of these KMC single-speed chains will work well. So you'll need a chain. You'll also need some mason jars. I picked up about a dozen of these at Walmart for a few bucks. They're really cheap. You'll also need some simple green, some concentrate. I picked this jug up at Home Depot. Again, it shouldn't be that expensive. And then you'll also need 91% proof isopropyl alcohol. This one I picked up at Rite Aid, but you can get it at Walmart, CVS. It's only a couple bucks. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we'll be submerging the chain inside the simple green for 30 minutes, and as soon as we submerge it in, we'll shake the chain around inside the jar for a good 2 minutes, vigorous shaking, and that's to make sure that the simple green gets inside the rollers of the chain. And after 30 minutes of it being submerged in that, I'll pull the chain out, and then rinse the chain off in water, and then I'll hang it up to dry and wipe it down with a rag. Once it's completely dry, I'll put it into isopropyl alcohol for another 30 minutes, and again shake it up for 2 minutes in the jar so the alcohol can penetrate into the rollers. Then after that's been sitting for 30 minutes, I'll take the chain out and let it dry, and then it should be ready to go. You'll know it's ready when there's no slime on the chain. The chain kind of squeaks when you move it, and it just doesn't feel like there's any oils on it. It feels, like solid. Assuming there is some oils that I can feel on it, I'll just repeat the process. I'll put the chain back into simple green for half an hour, and then isopropyl alcohol until it's ready to go. All right, I'll go on to the next part. One of the other things you'll need that I forgot to mention is these chain pliers. These allows you to put the chain on, take the chain on and off of a bike. These KMC chains, these new ones anyway, they just come with a simple master link, and you'll need these to actually put this on. So before I actually put this into the simple green, I want to connect the master link to the chain so it's with the chain when I put it in. I don't like putting it in individually and trying to fish it out. I just like putting it on. So I'm going to go and put some simple green into this jar here. And we're going to almost fill it up to the top because this chain will just barely fit inside this jar. So that's about how much I put in right there. Of course, when you put the chain in, it's going to displace some of the liquid. So you'll need to fix that. You don't want to go all the way to the top. So here's the chain here. I'm just going to pick a side. Doesn't really matter. Pull the master link out here. Connect it on there. And so the way this goes is like this. Now the master link is bowed out a little bit, and that's why you need these pliers to help put it on and take it off. So basically I'm going to just pinch it down on the link here, and it should get just like that. It snaps right on. So it's on there, it's nice and secure. So now we're going to put this chain inside the simple green. And what I like to do is coil the chain up like so. Just try to keep the winding about a little bit smaller than the opening of the jar. Here we go. Alright, so now the chain's completely submerged in there. I'll put the lid on the jar here. I'm going to shake it up. You want to do this for about 2 minutes. Good shake. Really get it in there. It's going to get all the simple green or the degreaser in between the rollers, and that's what you want. When you stop shaking this, you'll see that there's little bubbles coming off the chain and inside here, and what that is it's penetrating the oil. And as time goes on, those bubbles will start to accumulate more and more. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it sit for half an hour, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at it then, and we'll pull it out and rinse it in water, and then put it in isopropyl alcohol. Okay, the chain has been sitting in here now for over half an hour, and I think it's time to pull it out and rinse it off. And what I'm going to do is, after I rinse it off, I'm just going to use a rag. This is a brand new rag, never been used before. I picked these up. They're like 40 of them for a few bucks at Walmart, and these are great for just wiping down your chain and you know, cleaning your bike or doing whatever. So you'll want a brand new clean rag that's never been used before, because you don't want to contaminate the chain with any other residues. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the chain now. Alright, I'm just going to rinse it off in the water. The idea is to just get all of the simple green or degreaser off the chain. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe it down with the rag, one of the new clean rags, and then I'm going to hang it up in the sunlight, direct sunlight, for about a half an hour, let it dry out, and then we'll submerge it into isopropyl alcohol. So you want to look at the rag. You'll see there's like stuff that comes off of it, and this is flakes of metal, shavings. residue from the original oil, and that's why we also put it inside the isopropyl alcohol to strip off any additional stuff that might be on the chain. Okay, I'm going to go hang this up, and then what I'll do is I'll put it inside this isopropyl alcohol just like I did the simple green, shake it up for 2 minutes and let it sit for half an hour, and then I'll pull it out, wipe it down with another one of these rags, and hopefully there will be little to no residue left on the chain, and it'll feel nice and clean. It already feels pretty good. I don't feel any sliminess at all on the chain right now, but the isopropyl alcohol is the final step that really gets the rest of the residue off if there is any. So I'll go hang this up. Okay, I've had the chain sitting in isopropyl alcohol now for 30 minutes, and I gave it a good shake for 2 minutes when I first put it in there. And of course this was after letting it dry in the sun for 30 minutes after taking it out of the simple green and rinsing it off in the water. So I'm going to take the chain out of here, and then we're going to give it a good wipe down and we'll dry it off, assuming it feels like all the oils are out of it. Like I said before, even when I pulled it out of the simple grain and washed it off, it had already felt pretty good. So everything in here now is like filling. Yeah, I don't feel any sliminess at all on here. So yeah, there's no residue. It's just alcohol being wiped away on the rag. This is a brand new rag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this up and let it dry for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll put it on the bike and I'll show you guys how to lubricate the chain with the Squirt lube. So here we have my bike, and right now it's got the old chain on it. This chain right here, this is an experiment chain. The first chain I used to try to beat up and see how well the Squirt lube works. So to give you guys an idea of what this chain has been through is, of course, I stripped it of all its original oils and I've been using Squirt lube on it. But this chain has about 1,500 miles on it, and I've only re-cleaned the chain in simple green in the isopropyl alcohol bath twice since its initial cleaning. This chain has been through quite a bit. I've ridden in the rain multiple times, and I've actually, the first time I took the chain off to do a deep cleaning on it, I decided that I was going to try something different, and I stuck the chain outside in the weather for a full week in the rain while it was raining, and I came back to it and there was some corrosion or rust on it. And so what I did is I took the chain and I threw it into some simple green, and that removed most of the gunk and also a lot of the rust. And so after that, I cleaned it in alcohol too, and I poured boiling hot water on this chain to remove as much of the old wax as possible that did not get removed by the simple green. And then from there, I've just been doing a regular cycle of about every 30 to 50 miles. I completely wipe the chain down with the rag, and I apply Squirt. Now, I don't apply that much Squirt to it. I'm pretty meticulous about how I do it. I just put a dab on each one of the links, and I do I do one coating of that, let it dry for about 15 minutes, and then I do another dab. And then I wipe down the chain after it's dry so that there's no wax residue on the side of the chains, on the side of the links. It's only on the rollers themselves. So anyway, this chain has been through a lot, and I'm going to replace it with the new chain. So here I'm going to take the chain off. Now on a normal chain, like a factory chain, you'll have to break the chain with a chain breaker. What I'm going to use to break the new chain is just a Shadow Conspiracy tool that I've owned for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. But it's got a nice chain breaker on it, so I'm going to use this to break the new chain. I don't need to use this for this chain because this has got a master link here. And if you run your chain loose, you can just take this off. But I run my chains pretty tight, so as you can see, it's pretty tight. One thing to note is that every bike has a sticking point on the front here, where the chain ring or your sprocket is. So if you notice now it's pretty loose, and then it will start to get tight again, right? And right now this is pretty loose for me. I was in a hurry yesterday, getting ready for a ride, and I didn't tighten it as much as I'd like to. This is about at the place where I start thinking, it needs to be a little bit tighter. But every bike has this that I've ever seen, where it has a tight spot and a loose spot. And as long as your chain is not coming off the chain ring or the back cog or freewheel, that's fine. It's kind of your preference, but I like to have mine a little tight. So since I have it a little tight like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up my back wheel so I can take this off. So I'll do that, and then I'll show you the part where I lay the chain out and measure the new chain to go on the bike. Okay, I have the old chain lined up with the new chain. So this chain out on the outside here is the new chain, and this chain on the inside is the old chain. I have the old master link on here, just for measurements purposes. So here at the bottom I have them lined up, and so what I want to do is I want to break the chain at the same point. So this is the master link, and that's where the master link on this part would go here. So I'm going to break the chain right there. So what I'm going to do is take my chain breaker tool, get it ready, and then what I'll do is I'll lift it right where it's going to go, and now our new chain is sitting in the chain breaker exactly where I want it to break. So I just line this up. This is here, and then I'm going to use a little wrench. This is a 10 millimeter wrench for mine. Your chain breaker might just have a little lever on it to make it easy, but mine needs this. So I'm just going to start breaking it here. Now you want to be careful and watch your chain to make sure that it's not bending or anything like that. As long as you line it up right, it should be okay. And it should feel hard at first to go, and then it'll start to become easier. And then, yeah, it depends on the type of chain and how sticky your link is, but you can kind of feel when it's going to get to the end. Now you can push this pin all the way through. That's what I do with these because I'm not going to reuse it, so I just push it right through. So there, that's the pin for the roller. So I'm going to back this guy out. This is the spare a little bit. And so now our chain is ready to go on the bike. Just put this to the side here, and I'll use my master link pliers. And I'll take the master link off of this. All right, and now our chain is at the length we want it, and I'll show you basically how to put it back on the bike. All right, so one thing you'll want to do before putting the new chain on your bike is to make sure you clean the chain ring or sprocket as best as you can. My chain ring has only ever used I've only ever used the Squirt lube on this chain ring. It's pretty brand new. That's why it's not all gunky. If you've only been using like the oil-based waxers, the factory chain, you'll want to clean this as best you can with a degreaser and a good rag and some brushes. Same with the rear cog or freewheel. You'll want to clean that up as best you can, because you don't want any of the gunk and the old oils to get on your brand new chain, and that'll undo everything you've done. So, but since this is only seen Squirt lube, I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and I'm going to put the chain on here. So with these KMC chains, again, they have this easy to use master link. So I'm going to go ahead and put this chain on like so. So I'm going to connect this this master link here. That. And then we're going to pop this on with the pliers here. You can use like some needle nose pliers, but I really recommend you use these because it makes your job a lot easier taking it on and off. So I grab it, and I squeeze it, and it just pops right on. Now what keeps this on is the tension on the chain. As you pedal, it's actually putting force in this, so the master link will not come off. So this is ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten up my wheel to get the chain as tight as I want it, and then we'll come back and start putting the lube on there. All right, so now I have the chain on, and the back wheel is tightened and the chain is tight where I want it to be. I've rotated the chain to where the master link is showing at the bottom here. That's my measuring, so I'm going to do one revolution of the chain to get it back here. And so I'm going to show you basically how to put on this Squirt lube here. So what you want to do is you want to shake up the bottle pretty well. I'm going to show you two different methods. Make sure you have your hands are clean or you're wearing gloves, because one of the methods you're actually going to be touching the chain and getting the lube inside the roller. If you push on the bottom of the rollers should come up a little bit, exposing some of the gap in the rollers, and that's where you really want the lube to go. You want it to be inside the roller itself, and the outside where it actually bends. That's where you want it to penetrate. I'll show you the first method, which is basically you're just going to put a dab of the lubricant on each roller, and you don't want a lot. You just want enough to where there's a little bit there. So if you look on that roller, there's just a little bit of lubricant on the top, and I'm doing it on where the roller would actually contact the other parts of metal, which would be the chain ring or sprocket or the cog or freewheel. And so just putting a little bit on each roller like so. And you just move the chain down the line so you can get access to each roller. Just like that. Now, I'm going to show you another method of what I like to do. What I'll do is I'll put a dab on it just like so, but then I'll rotate the roller and that is just to make sure it gets in there. Now, as you wind the chain around, this is going to happen anyway, but this guarantees that it gives an even coating on each roller, like so. And again, you don't want the lubricant to get on the outside of the chain. I would try to get as least as possible on the chain, just so, because when this dries, it's going to be a little sticky and it will pick up dirt. So the idea is to just lube it enough to where it moves frictionless, as free as possible, and doesn't squeak. Just like that. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the chain and do my normal application here. Now what I've noticed is, and the amount that I put on, which is really is not that much, I get about 60 miles out of a chain before I start hearing it squeak. And so what I try to do is, after every ride, because my rides are pretty long, I usually do anywhere from 30 to 50 miles on average, and so I wipe the chain down after I'm done with the ride, and then I'll apply a drop on each roller, just like I'm doing now, and that keeps it from squeaking, and it feels pretty good. The longest I've gone on a ride on one application of this lubricant is 88 miles, and it didn't start squeaking until about the 60-mile mark. And again, I'm not I don't use that much. So I've gone past the master roller once, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll the chain backwards, let it get soaked into the rollers, and then I'm going to let this sit for 10 or 15 minutes, let this dry, and then we'll come back and we'll do one more coating, and then that'll be it. All right, we're back, and the lubricant on the chain seems like it's dry now. When you touch the chain, it should feel a little sticky. That's what it should feel like. And if you notice, there's no more white. It's all been dried up. And so now we're going to apply one more coat of the lubricant, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm just going to do the same method. Just put a drop on each roller here, like so. One thing I didn't show last time is after I've done applying one coat, what I'll do is I'll take a clean rag and I'll wipe the outside of the chain here on the plates. I won't rub down the top or the bottom, but I will do the outside of the plates to make sure that none of the lube is sitting on there, because if it's sitting on the outside, it is a little sticky and it will pick up some more dirt, and it's just a place that you don't need to have the lube at. There's no reason why it should be here. Inside the rollers here, yes, in the inside, but that'll happen when you do this. When you put on the top, it'll penetrate in there. As it rotates around, it'll get inside there. But having it gunk up the middle of the plates here, or the outer plates, that's not what we want. It's not going to do us any good. What I've seen is a lot of people that have tried this. The main reason why it doesn't work is because they put it on a chain that still has the factory lubricants. or they didn't, or it's been previously used and they thought they could just put it on there, and they're going to get pretty crappy results. But if they do it like this, it'll work just fine, and it's pretty easy to maintain and keep the chain clean. Alright guys, what I want to do is just show you what I do about maintaining my chain after I've lubed it with the Squirt lube and I've gone on a ride. So I try to wipe my chain down after every ride. This chain has seen a 50-mile ride since I last wiped it down, and I'll post a close-up shot of it, what it looks like, but it's still not that bad. When I run my hand across it, there's like hardly anything that comes off of it. But so here I have a rag. This is an old rag. I got one side that's dirty and then one side that I haven't used at all. I try to use it like that so I can get 2 uses out of a rag. So this time I'm gonna go on the clean side, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wrap my hand around the chain with the rag, and I'm gonna rub the top and rub the bottom and the sides. Just keep it in place like so, and then I'm just going to move the chain along and wipe it down. And what I'm trying to do is just get any of that residual wax and dirt and crud that has accumulated on there since the ride. But this is basically it. I just give it one good rotation like this, and then I'll apply some more lube on there. That's it. So that's it. That's my full tutorial on how to use the Squirt chain lube. If you have any comments or questions, please post them below. Thanks for your time. Later.